bonsoir. C'est Nicolas Perrier, président de Mosquées Canada pour le chapitre de Montréal. Et ce soir, on entame le 5e épisode de Mosquées TV pour notre chapitre. Alors, c'est Mosquées Canada Montréal, épisode 5 de Mosquées TV. Ce soir, avec moi, j'ai un invité très spécial. C'est quelqu'un que je voulais inviter depuis longtemps. Alors, sans plus tarder, j'aimerais introduire Darian. Darian Savage, bonsoir.
Okay. Bonsoir. Bonsoir.
OK, alors, ce soir, on va changer un peu entre l'anglais et le français, si ça ne te dérange pas.
Non, ça me dérange. Okay. Ça me dérange pas, pantoute.
OK. Et Darian, c'est quelqu'un qui est vraiment impressionnant, qui m'impressionne, parce que très jeune, puis il s'aventure en toutes sortes de choses, en affaires, en nature. Il y a des projets super intéressants, puis ça fait longtemps que je voulais l'inviter. Donc, ce soir, c'est un grand plaisir de recevoir Darian. Il va nous parler de son service de guide. Il va nous parler de ses intérêts au niveau de la faune. Quand il était petit garçon, j'ai appris à propos de lui qu'il s'intéressait beaucoup à la chaîne alimentaire, tout ce qui se rapporte à la nature. Donc, peut-être je me voyais un petit peu dans lui. Alors, juste avant qu'on commence avec Darian, je voulais juste faire un petit parallèle. Si Pierre pourrait amener à l'écran quelque chose. Donc, lorsque j'avais 8 ans, ça, c'est une photo de mon grand-père. Ça, c'est de Wakefield. En fait, c'est un lac Pearson, je pense. En fait, c'est dans la région de Wakefield. Mon grand-père m'a appris à attraper le masquinongé la nuit. Et puis, on voit ici que le masquinongé dans sa cuisine ne va pas retourner à l'eau. Donc, cette photo date d'environ, je dirais, 35 ans et plus. Donc, mon grand-père attrapait le masquinongé pour en garder dans son garde-manger l'hiver pour se nourrir. Donc, l'été, il chassait le masquinongé la nuit. C'était la technique à l'époque. Et j'ai eu la chance d'en attraper un très gros à l'âge de 12 ans avec lui. Dans une petite chaloupe de 12 pieds, mon grand-père s'occupait de ramer la nuit. On avait un believer sur une canne avec un Zebco. Puis je me rappelle du monde qu'on a rentré sur le côté du bateau. On avait seulement 2 puises à Chigan. On a mis une puise sur la tête, une puise sur la queue. Le poisson a complètement déchiré la puise à l'avant. Parti avec le believer, parti avec toute l'affaire. On ne l'a pas revu après. Mon grand-père s'est refoulé le pied. C'est fait une entorse au pied. Son pied est venu bleu pendant une semaine. C'est une mémoire que je vais avoir pour toute ma vie. Je l'ai encore aujourd'hui. Donc, quand j'ai vu que Darian s'intéressait à la nature, à sa famille, c'est quelqu'un de très familial, il fallait que je l'invite. Donc, sans plus tarder, Darian, je veux que les gens entendent parler de toi. Donc, let's switch to English, because we prepared this evening to be in English. And once in a while, I'll switch to French. Let's just make it fun, and we'll switch around when you feel it just works. Okay, so Darian, go ahead.
All right, so thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here tonight. A lot of familiar faces, some people I haven't met before. Have a lot of people watching from home on the live. So today I'm going to be talking about who I am, what I do, things that I like. I'm going to talk about some things that most of the fishing community, especially people here tonight, have never heard about before. So I prepared a PowerPoint, which we're going to put on the screen now. You can go to the second page. All right, so this one has the writing cut off on the first page, but I think it's just...
Yeah, I think it's all right. I think the first page has a few technical glitches, but we'll get through it. You know what you wrote, and people see the pictures, so that's what matters.
So, who am I? I'm 23 years old. I am a fishing guide in the Montreal region. I'm a photographer and videographer as well. My family comes from New Brunswick, and I grew up here, born and raised in Montreal, but my whole family lives in New Brunswick, so I visited there every summer. And my grandfather on my mom's side is super into adventures in nature and stuff like that. My dad's side too, but my mother's side brought me on a lot of adventures and got me into what you see in a lot of the pictures here. So in the top picture, you have a picture of me with a thermometer. My grandfather and I we learned that the Atlantic salmon population in New Brunswick was not doing well on the mirror machine stuff. Every year they're tagging salmon, and the returning salmon numbers are lower and lower every year. So my grandfather and I went out and we did some temperature measuring in the creeks, the rivers around, and we checked to see if the temperatures were ideal for salmon and stuff like that because of obviously global warming. I don't remember the results. In the bottom middle picture, you've got me fly fishing the Miramichi. That was my first time ever fly fishing. I was not very good. I didn't catch anything, but I had to include it anyway. Bottom right is me at a very young age, and there's me standing in front of a poster where I was in a fish hatchery in New Brunswick, and we were on a tour, and they were telling us about the life cycle and everything about Atlantic salmon.
Excellent. And can I just say that I've been to Miramichi, and it's a beautiful town. I plan on going there again. It hosts the Striper Cup, which is kind of a fish that has a bad rep with the salmon, but we understand, biologists have understood that the two species can live together. I don't know, did you, as a child, did you catch any striper as well, or mostly salmon?
Not as a kid, because I always went down in August. And they're around, but it's not the time. But in the last couple of years, I went up with my best friend Zach Saladino, who's in the crowd tonight, and we did a video. We did a film actually that's on his YouTube channel in 3 parts where we fished like all around New Brunswick, and we did 167 stripers in 12 hours of fishing.
All right, can I go with you guys next time?
Just goes to show how the Miramichi fishes when you're there at the right time. So yeah, how I got into fishing. Well, when I was in 5th grade, I met a buddy who transferred from one school to my school, and he lived on the water. He had a small aluminum boat that his dad would let him take out as long as he stayed within view of the shoreline, around the islands and stuff. And we became really good friends, and I used to go over to his house in the summer, and we'd go fishing every single day. And we'd catch, bass, pike, everything. And we would just go around in a 14-foot boat, 20 horsepower motor. We hit every rock in the lake, so I know where all of them are now. Now I don't hit rocks. And that was a really good way to learn and get into fishing. But obviously I just threw crankbaits around islands and stuff, so I didn't do much versatility.
When I was 14, I had access to a tiller with a 9.9 or 15 horsepower. And I could burn a full tank in a day, and then I'd beg my parents for another tank at night. I don't know. Were you able to burn a full tank in a day?
Yeah, on my personal boat for sure.
Yeah. Did you ever get your parents to buy another one? Because I didn't have any money. My parents were paying for gas.
It's a great question. I really don't remember, but probably. I highly doubt I had money. So when I was 14, my dad asked me, "Do I want a boat or a scooter?" And because at 14 you can get your boating license and you can get your scooter license, and most teenagers, at 14 you're getting into your teenage years.
Your first kiss.
You're kind of you gotta make some poor decisions.
You have to have a scooter.
You're not always thinking about your future and stuff. But fortunately, I wasn't one of those kids. I took the boat.
Yeah, but did you get your first kiss on a boat?
No.
No. All right. So you should have taken a scooter.
Maybe. Okay. Passion. So I've always had a passion for guiding. When I was in high school, I'd always so I got my boat at 14, so I was always able to go on the boat. And when I was 16, I got my learner's permit. I learned how to back up the boat. At 17, I was backing it up alone, and I was always bringing buddies from my class to go catch big fish, just because I knew it was something that anyone could be interested in.
And this was in Montreal at the time?
Yeah, always around Montreal.
Okay.
I've always lived in Montreal.
Okay, gotcha.
And so one of the species I targeted the most when I was younger was gar, because gar are very interesting. They're really exciting for the bite.
Pour les Frenchies, c'est l'épisostique osseux.
Exactement. And so I love doing those. It's a topwater bite. It's sight fishing. And I did it almost always on the fly rod, which is super cool. And it kind of sparked my interest into multi-species. We can go to the next slide.
On va essayer, monsieur. On a Pierre ici qui est l'ancien président qui veut encore mettre son emprise sur le contenu.
Non, je suggérais.
So about me, on the right side, you've got my socials. My YouTube, which I don't post a lot, but I'm working on putting more films up, is Savage Fishing Guide Service. And then my Instagram is DarianSavage.fishing. My Facebook's just my personal account, Darian Savage. And then my website is www.savagefishingguideservice.com. So what drew me into fishing is my passion for guiding, sharing stories and memories, but obviously like everyone else is the fight, the chase, looking for that big fish and the new fish, all that kind of stuff. Something I want to talk about is networking for all the young anglers out there, or even, older anglers that are having trouble learning in the fishing industry. Networking is everything. It's something I've done since I started fishing. Meeting new people, whether it's in public or joining Facebook groups, that was something that was huge for me. For myself, I met new people in high school as I went to a different high school as my best friend from elementary who had the house on the water. And in high school, I learned about different species, that's where I learned about gar, learned about carp, I learned about muskie and all that stuff. And one year I went steelheading in 2016, and my friends fly fished. I didn't know how to fly fish, and on the first day my friends caught 7 or 8 between the two of them. I got 0 because I wasn't fly fishing. So what that taught me is that I needed to fly fish.
What was the species you were targeting that time?
Steelhead.
Steelhead. Okay,
trout.
so I'm going to guess, where would that be? In a tributary of Lake Ontario?
Correct.
All right.
So we were in the Port Hope area, which is about
that's
4 hours. I wasn't on the Ganaraska. You drive 10 minutes from the Ganaraska and you're alone on the river. You go to the Ganaraska, there's hundreds of people shoulder to shoulder.
Right.
So
you just have to find the right spot and just walk up the river for about 40 minutes and you're all on the.
Exactly.
Did you target Chinooks as well, or was this?
So
just
this was in
steelhead? Was it?
This was in March, end of March.
Oh, okay, so just steelhead then.
Yeah, end of March. I was only steelhead. Like I said, I got really badly outfished because I wasn't fly fishing. So when we got back from that trip, I went to sail. Started with a 9-foot 8-weight Echo fly rod that was on sale, just because I needed to get something.
So it was a sail on sale.
A sail at sale.
On
Yes.
sale.
So I bought that rod and I got into fly fishing. I started going around ponds and I catch largemouth out of ponds and whatnot. And the best way to learn about something when you're not sure how to do it is one, experience, but also to surround yourself with people that are better than you at what you're doing. So
That's generally what I do.
exactly.
You want to hire people that are smarter than you, and you want to be with people that are
Me.
yeah.
So my take on that was competitions. So the first competition I ever did, I joined Fly Fishing Team Canada. I was on the youth team, and most of
No way, really.
really.
Really? Wow, that's
So-
impressive.
That was my first time actually fly fishing was in a competition, and we did most of our local tournaments at Canuck Nature in Montebello. And so since it was organized and they're kind of a sponsor for Team Canada, it would be really good prices for us for lodging and everything. And we'd have boats supplied. We'd go fish our
Not a
lakes
shot to Montebello.
at Montebello at Canuck.
Wow.
And we had access to the biggest, most luxurious lodges that slept the most people. And
Did you get a kiss?
no, there was no girls. There was no girls, and fortunately, no kiss from guys
Because
either.
yeah. But when there's fishing, if there's a kiss involved,
There was no kisses.
All right.
So yeah. So fly fishing competitions is how I started doing my fly fishing. I fly fished with guys that were a lot older than me that did nationals, they did worlds, they did fly fishing all over the world, and they placed really high.
Can I ask, at 16, did you do a casting distance? Did you ever figure out what your distance was? Because I've seen competitions where they do 120 feet.
Yeah, there was no point in me doing that. I
Did some crazy loops and I don't know. Or did you master all the Indiana Jones stuff?
I was very basic at 16. I was mostly self-taught. I learned a few tricks at the fly fishing competitions. I mainly learned presentation and fly patterns, all that. We learned a lot about water temps and trout. But yeah, so I started.
Match the hatch.
That's important, but Canucks always stock trout, so it's not as important. We kind of hit everything. I learned how stupid stock trout can be there.
Yeah. With their mutant pails and stuff.
exactly, exactly. There's all kinds of stuff with stock. Yeah. So after that, I developed a love for competitions. I've always loved competitions. I won most competitive in high school in my yearbook. And so the next competition I did was actually a couple of years ago. It was the CFN Fish Off, which is by the Canadian Fishing Network. And that's a multi-species tournament across Canada where you, so they did two different ways. Every year they kind of change the rules, but in the spring it would be most species, and it has to be minimum 8 inches. So you can't catch minnows. It has to be at least 8 inches. So that was a really interesting competition.
It's Canada-wide at the same time?
Yeah,
Tout le
exactly.
Canada en même
So
temps?
it's all done online.
Et combien de participants il y avait cette compétition-là à peu près?
The first year, environ 200 personnes peut-être.
C'est rien ça,
Yeah,
pas 200.
It's not the pike tournament, that's for sure. So this tournament is all done online. You have to submit your pictures through an app and everything so that they know it's official. And the way I started doing that was my buddy asked me if I wanted to do it with him. And my buddy ended up not fishing. I started it late. I did the tournament by myself, and it was a team event this year, and I finished like 3rd place, which was okay, but I had like that itch that I needed to scratch, you know?
When you said this year, like this year?
No,
this
so this was 20, what are we now? 2020, so this was 2021.
Okay, this is like COVID years.
It might have been 2022.
It's during COVID.
I guess so. COVID's all like a blur for me.
Yeah.
2022. It was 2022.
Okay, right in the end when people still drove with masks in their cars and you don't know why.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then I had the itch that I needed to scratch, and I needed to do it again with a partner that would fish it with me because I thought for sure I'd be able to win it. So then this past year I did it in the spring, and I finished first. It was a solo event. I finished first with 51 species. I did New Brunswick, I did Montreal, I did Tadoussac, and most of my species came from Montreal. But again, there's that 8-inch limit. So when I was in Tadoussac, I caught 9 species. Only 4 of them were eligible.
Was it in the fjord?
Yeah, sort of. It was saltwater, but a little higher up. So
Okay, like
it's kind of
20%?
transition.
Okay, 20%. It was in the Saguenay River?
It was, yeah.
Right, so in like in fly fishing again?
No, I was.
So it
bottom
was like
fishing.
you could have been in 200 feet or more.
Exactly. So I was in the deepest I saw in Naviance was about 130.
Okay. Wow. So like Sebas was probably
Yeah, I got some Sebast.
Right.
I did get the flétan. It was a baby flétan.
Yeah,
so
and there's cod too. There's 2 species of cod if I understand that.
there's is there 2 or 3?
At least
There's 2. At least 2.
Yeah.
I
Isn't
got
it
both of
delicious?
those.
Did you eat
Didn't
cod?
try that.
No? Oh, it's delicious.
I
Cod is
believe
like the best eater.
I believe
Yeah, by far.
So yeah, that's another thing that got me into tournaments. And then this fall, that tournament happened again. And what they changed, so in the fall, the water's colder, a lot of fish go deep, a lot of fish shut down. It was a lot harder. But what they changed is there's no more 8-inch minimum length limit. So I was able to go for minnows and stuff like that. So I had to learn about that, which I'm going to talk about later. The next tournament that I did was the Muskie Capital Cup. The first year I did that was with my buddy Zach again. Someone had messaged him asking if we'd be interested in doing it. We had no clue what we were doing.
Is that
really.
the one? It's in the fall. It's like it's a 2-day or 1-day?
It was the first time we did it was 9 days.
It's 9 days. Okay.
It was
Is that,
9 days.
Was Andrew in that one as well?
Not the
It was a musky
first
one,
year.
right?
Not the,
No,
yeah,
not-
it's a musky tournament, but not
Okay.
the first year. The first year he wasn't in it.
Okay.
Zach and I did it. We were in first place for 6 of the 9 first days.
I think I saw
Then we got-
something about this tournament. Muskies Canada has no idea about this tournament. We're just it's
Yeah,
weird.
it was
We would've sent
it was a
people
small
or-
tournament.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be in Ottawa, but because it was so last minute organized, they extended it to like zone 8 and everything. So we're allowed to play pretty
Okay.
much anywhere.
Oh, okay. It's multi-zone.
Yeah. But then the second year they did it, it was only Ottawa River,
Okay.
which was the idea of it.
So Darian, very interesting the tournament stuff. How much time would you say we have on tournament stuff? Because I really want to get to some.
We're done. We're done.
We're done. All
Yeah.
right.
On
Okay.
to the next slide.
Okay. Sweet.
All right, so my guiding business, I started it at the end of 2021. The reason why I started is just ever since I was in high school and had a big friend group, I always had a passion for teaching and sharing experience with people, knowledge and all that, telling people about not just fishing, but also like our local wildlife and everything about it always amazed me. I've always been a super nature lover. I love seeing people super excited or happy when they get a big fish, or especially when you got like a big friend group, like 3-4 guys, and they get super excited over fish.
So in June, can we have a? Let me just interrupt you for a second, Darren. So in June we have a kids fishing day here, and it was spearheaded by Denny, who's playing Candy Crush over there. So Denny started. Was it 10 years ago? More than that. More like 15, 10, 15. He started a kids fishing day here, and it's with pêcheurs en herbe, with anglers, and there's 100 and more. You know, last year we had 160 kids all lined up on shore here, and they're catching. You know, we even had an eel last year. So if you have time in June, it's the weekend when it's free for fishing, so families don't have to buy the permit. You should come down. We did something last year. We invited about 60 Ukrainian kids. Kids that are in this country because they're escaping the war with their mom, single parent, and so we bus them here, and it's a fun day. Fishing is the language that we use that day. So it'd be a pleasure if you wanted to come by. Free pizza for you as well.
Perfect.
You'll be in front. I'll let you cut in front of the kids for pizza.
I'll try my best.
All right.
Journée guidage qui t'emmène la pizza aussi.
Okay. We'll see about that. All right. So the services that I offer, literally everything except for lake trout and salmon, because it's a little far. It's out of my way a bit. But other than that, I do trout from shore on fly fishing. I do in the boat. I do everything. You know, from muskie to gar, bass, walleye. If you wanna catch minnows, if you wanna catch drum, you know, any of those weird species, I'll do any of it. I'm waiting for the day that somebody asks me to go fish for minnows or something. You know, it's my dream.
Hey, for trout, how far out do you go from Montreal?
You know what? Between you
don't
and
have
I,
to tell me any lake or name. Just like how far out you have to drive.
between you and I can catch brookies about 30 minutes from where we're sitting right now. Wild brook trout, 30 minutes from here.
Wild
brook trout.
All right. So I don't know why people are not. Your phone's not ringing off the hook right now, but it should.
But typically with clients, I'll go like an hour or so, maybe a little longer, to go catch some brown trout. We get bigger browns. The brookies are small because they're wild, but the browns will actually put up a big fight, big river, and really good fishing. Lots of fish around.
And it's on now because it's open.
Yep, it just opened.
So is it a good time now to book for you for trout, or what do you think is the best time of year for trout?
It depends. Right now is a really good time for big fish, but a little later in the year, it's good in the morning, especially until the water hits like 80 in July and August, and then we try not to fish for them.
Right.
But right now, June, great time.
Wow.
And Quebec used to be open in Zone 8. It used to be open year round, but they just recently, like a few years ago, changed the regulations, and now it's closed in September. So unfortunately, we can't fish fall. Unfortunately, we can't fish fall, but we are able to still fish in the summer months and everything. So for the guiding philosophy, I want to talk about my philosophy on guiding. So I always make sure that my customers have a great experience. You know, I'm educating them, making sure they're learning, whether it's on safety or like with weather conditions. People often ask me about boat questions, like what kind of boat they should get, the motor and everything. I talk to them about the boat design and everything that's important for safety when you're navigating the big waters around Montreal, because we do get some pretty nasty weather sometimes. Love talking about wildlife. You know, there's some spots where we constantly see eagles and herons, turtles, all that stuff. My flexibility and adaptability. I normally do groups of 2 or 3, but if somebody's asking for 4 people or more, I had a group of 10 on the ice this year. It's hard, but I want to adapt because I want everyone to be able to experience what they're trying to do. And then lastly, passion and enthusiasm. Like I mentioned before, I'm super passionate about watching people catch big fish and get super happy about it, all that.
So we lost our slide changer, known as Pierre. Is it too far ahead, or we're good here? Okay.
So fishing as a whole, the community is something I love about fishing and I hate it at the same time.
Is that at downtown Vaudreuil?
That first picture is the Costco parking lot in 2017 when it was flooded. Yeah, right next to the SAQ.
C'est à Vaudreuil, ça.
Yeah, there was carp in there. I don't know about anything else, but there was carp. At that age, I did not know how to catch carp, but I tried and I did not succeed. So yeah, that first picture is in Vaudreuil. I'm right in the middle of the city. My grandfather took that picture. And I tried my best to catch fish, but I could not. I really wanted to catch them and then relocate them back to the lake. I don't know if they get stuck there or what. I think they found their way back because I didn't see any carcasses after the water went down.
So are you sitting on a sewer
I'm
duct?
standing, yes, I am standing on one, yeah. So that's literally the Costco ditch. If you go there right now, there's water, but it's not nearly as high. You see it coming out in the middle of the streets and stuff. The road's closed.
So that's a drainage excess drainage. But
Yeah.
there was fish in there. I guess
Yeah.
when the flood happened, fish went over that bump and
There is a
Got
river
caught.
that goes into there, and fish could get in there right now if they wanted to. They just don't. But any year that it'll be that high, there will be fish in it, and one day I'll catch
I
them.
remember that was the year that the floods were here. So a good year for spawning for all species, by the way.
Yeah.
Walleye were like on golf courses spawning. It was really cool.
Yeah, I saw carp in golf courses. I saw carp everywhere. Everywhere in Vaudreuil had carp. So I want to talk about the community. Everyone that is a fisherman knows how the fishing community is. You know, there's a ton of drama. If you're on social media, there's so much drama in fishing.
You want to tell me about that?
No, not at all.
All
That's
right,
not what we're
okay.
here for today. We're going to avoid the drama. But
All right.
within the fishing community, there's also so many great people, especially Muskies Canada. The Muskie community is something I'm going to talk about later. The Muskie community is so great. It's a really small community. Everybody knows.
You know, I have another title besides the chapter president.
What is it?
I'm a firefighter. I put out fires when social media blows up.
In the community.
Kind of.
Okay, that's a great.
I'm
title.
the first one to say, to hear a text or get a message. Oh, this guy's doing this. Here's a picture. I'm not the police, but try to work things out. Yeah, there's a lot of drama on the water.
For sure. But like I said, there's some ups to the community, especially since I started guiding. I've had a lot of clients in different industries, and I've met so many people who have introduced me to so many new and different things that I've never done before.
I guess that's why we have a friend in common. His name sounds like lizard.
Lizard.
Lazard.
I don't know. Doesn't ring a
Lousy.
bell. Lousy rings a bell.
Comme Voldemort, peut prononce son nom.
Lazarus.
Lazarus. I've heard of
This
that guy.
guy's slow.
I've heard of him. I've
You
heard
heard?
of Lazarus.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You were pretending not to know I was talking about Lazarus.
I was.
Yeah, I knew.
You caught me right now.
All right. Yeah, exactly. All right.
So someone that can tell you a lot about the environment and conservation, Mike Lazarus. So I want to tell you about the environment. I love learning about the environmental and things that go together in fishing. It's so cool how things line up, like dandelions. Does anyone know where I'm getting at with dandelions?
I do know.
Zach knows. Few people know. So dandelions.
Hello.
When the dandelions turn white, roughly, not always perfect, but roughly.
They're done.
That's the peak, yeah.
That's when
It
the
depends.
shads. That's when it's time to go for shad. Sometimes it'll be a little bit late, but it's something. Another thing, cows. When cows are laying down, it means it's gonna rain. Okay, there's a front coming. That's another thing that's obviously not always right. Sometimes they're tired. Well,
So if you see a down cow, it's like go grab your.
means it's gonna
go
rain.
grab your shadzillas.
Yeah, and then just other things you learn with the temperatures. Like when water temps get to a certain point, it means the frogs are coming out. Fish are going to start hitting top water, and not just muskie eating mice, but like pike eating frogs. The amphibians are coming out from their hibernation, and they're going to be in the fish's bellies. Conservation. I love learning about conservation. I do a lot of research about the laws, the conservation laws. Our walleye slot size, our limits, and our new muskie law that came out that I'm going to talk about in a bit. What keeps me passionate about fishing? The highs and lows. There's so many highs and lows in fishing. Anyone that fishes, especially for muskie, the highs and lows, especially the highs. Challenges. I love the challenges. I love getting creative. And so I'm going to explain the pictures. On the right side, you've got me at 16 getting ready for either a steelhead or salmon trip. I would throw my vise on the table, drop my box of fly tying materials, and I would just start tying the night before. And I love this picture because it really shows me how I was in high school. Now I've got a desk, I'm all organized and everything, but in high school I just dumped everything out and did it last minute right in the kitchen. And I spent, in the fall and in the spring, I spent every weekend in high school driving to the salmon run or the steelhead run. That's what I did with my friends.
That's impressive, Darren, because you know what 14-year-olds do today? They watch videos of other people playing video games.
Exactly.
I don't know what's going on with this generation.
That's what I did, though. I tied my flies, and I'd drive 4.5, 5 hours to go fishing for the salmonids when they're running up the rivers. In the bottom picture, you've got my graduation picture. My buddy and I went out in our grad gowns. We caught some nice gar, took a picture for graduation. My wedding picture is surely going to look similar.
Graduation?
Graduation. I never thought about that one.
I just made it up 2 seconds ago.
That wasn't good.
You can put the next slide on. You can put the next slide on.
Did you kiss the gar when you let it go?
No, not those ones. So getting creative. In the bottom left picture, you've got me tying flies. Well, flies that I tied. That's my fly box. The bottom right picture is a bucktail I tied. The top picture is a muskie I caught on my bucktail. So, in the winter of 2020, I started tying bucktails. And on opening day 2021, I finished work. Zach and I made it to the boat launch for 7. And we had 2 hours fish till dark. We went to our first spot, and I wasn't feeling it. We took maybe 2 or 3 casts. And I said, you know what? Let's pack it up. We're gonna go somewhere else. I know where I want to go. We went to a different spot, and like 2 casts in, I think I got a 46.5 on my brand new bucktail that I tied myself, which was the most rewarding thing on the planet.
Sure is.
Let that fish go. 5 casts later, 51. Opening day.
On the
That
cast.
was a really good opener for me.
So
and
June 15th, like 2 years ago?
Well, it wasn't
Around
15th. It
June-
was like
yeah,
18th
yeah,
or 19th.
Back then it was not a line yet.
So yeah, it was 2 years ago, and it was the 18th or 19th. But yeah, it was a great opener for me. And so I love being able to be creative in fishing. You know, add tweaks to your lures, tie your own. A lot of guys in the muskie community make their own lures. I'm not into that. I do bucktails, but no cranks or anything like that.
Yeah, some of them say they're making them for themselves and they start selling them.
Yeah, well, that's a good way to start. I mean, I sell my
Maybe.
bucktails. I do sell quite a few of them. You know, I have more and more people fishing them every year. People like them. And bottom left, you got my flies. I like to catch big trout on my flies. I tie my own flies for steelhead and salmon too. A lot of people do it on center pin, throwing row bags and beads. I do it on the fly. So we can go to the next slide now.
So you're pretty fly for a white guy.
Pretty fly for a white guy. Thank you. So this slide, the fish of 10,000 casts, you guys are overthinking it. Muskie is really not that hard, and there's a video here to show you guys why.
So is this going to work? Let's cross our fingers. Maybe. Est-ce que les gens vont voir la vidéo?
Be quiet, whoever said that. We're not burning spots today.
Nobody heard it. The microphone, the little cat on the microphone prevented the leak of
There,
the
we
spot.
got it.
It works, yeah, perfect. So somewhere that shall not be mentioned.
And we lost it. We
We
had it.
Oh, wait.
It's gone now. We gotta
Okay, Pierre, you got to
restart
restart the video.
Je sais pas si ça joue sur le live. là.
No.
Non, c'est ça.
Okay.
We're having technical difficulties here. We're gonna figure it out.
Et sur
want
le
the
live, c'est encore ça. là.
Okay. So if you can't show your
Switch
screen,
d'un à
it's
l'autre,
just
là.
you can. You just have to switch the screen that you're sharing.
Yeah.
It's in French. I'm not. Alors, on va essayer de vous faire jouer une vidéo. We're going to try to play a video for you. So we have Clark Kent on the computer.
Ça devrait ça devrait y aller.
Headphones.
Peux le mettre full screen.
Yeah, ouais, Félix.
Wow.
Thanks, Zach.
We got it.
All right, Zach and Pierre, you guys should go fishing together. Looks like there's harmony between the two of you.
He has the same boat as me.
Fish.
He's got a square windows on his boat.
No, but there we
Get the
go.
net on the other side.
Only
Get the net.
Pierre has square windows.
That is the fish of 10,000 casts.
Yeah.
That was my
Just-
10,000th cast.
Dipping up.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes a quarter of a figure 8, but oftentimes it takes 10,000 casts.
Can we call that a no-cast muskie?
I'd say so. I didn't cast.
Yeah, I think there's very few of those. Did anybody ever just try a figure 8 without casting? Get one?
I wouldn't have done that if it was a lure I've used before. That was a brand new lure. I'd never used it. I wanted to see how it's
And so, did you see that muskie that was there the morning of? the
Nope,
evening before?
never saw that muskie.
You didn't know there was a muskie there?
I had no clue.
Get out of here.
No
I
clue.
thought that was staged with the
The muskie was a paid actor.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. He was paid in minnows.
Exactly. So our next slide are just a few things I love about muskie. The first one being, well, obviously I love the challenge of muskie fishing, how big they are, and a little deeper than that. More things I like about it. The top left picture, for me, represents community. I caught a muskie and I put a Zoko's hat on it because that muskie was now a part of our muskie community. Here in Montreal, we have no muskie shop. So the Zoko's our muskie shop. I feel like we have a little community out of the Zoko. Every time I walk in there, there's familiar faces, new people I meet. The guys at the Zoko are great. It just reminds me of the muskie community.
Can we do a test, Darian?
Yeah.
On va le faire en français, ok?
Okay.
Est-ce que tout le monde qui est allé chez Ezoko dans la salle peut se lever, s'il vous plaît? Bill and Don, for the English speakers, everybody who's gone to Ezoko, please stand up.
What?
All right. Only one guy didn't understand. That's Bill. Bill's getting it now.
I was going to tell only the old parts there.
So there you can stand up too. I don't know if the camera's showing us, but
I've been a couple
yeah, why don't you do that? Alors,
Everybody went.
merci Ezoko de faire partie de la communauté de Montréal. On a demandé à tout le monde de se lever. Ils sont allés vous voir. Absolument toute la salle s'est levée en même temps.
Except for the guys at Zoko.
I don't know
where they went.
I think they came for a delivery for the prize table, and they're very busy right now because of the pike tournament. So they're stocking up on buster jerks and European baits that work great on pike. So we got interrupted there, Darian. Were we talking about kissing?
No, we were not.
Okay.
You've been mentioning that a lot, though. I'm starting to think something's going on your end.
Well, it was
but,
just we just said it would be a cool conversation that
Somebody.
For the top right picture, I've got a picture I took of my lakewood with all the. You kind of only see hooks, but what I love about muskie fishing, another thing is all the variations of baits you have. You got giant baits that are like 16, 18 inches or longer. You got smaller baits like 5-6 inches, and you got some that weigh over a pound. You've got some that weigh virtually nothing. There's just so much versatility in what you can throw for muskies.
you still fish with those big dogs. I took a break from the big dogs.
I don't throw small dogs, so if I'm throwing dogs, I'm throwing pounders.
Really?
Zach likes his magnums. I like the pounders.
Is that a West Island thing?
It's a kid thing, I think.
I
It's
think
like,
so, yeah.
makes me feel like
When we're 40, we drop those. We
Oh,
put
for
those
sure.
aside for a bit. We only cast them for 10 minutes and then we're like,
For sure.
switch over.
No, I understand that. I'm starting to get there, but right now it makes me feel like young and powerful, So I gotta chuck them all day.
That's good. That's good.
The bottom left picture, as you can see, there's some muskie rash going on. I love what you can tell about a muskie fisherman, or when you can tell someone is a muskie fisherman. So I love having the rash. Like if you're talking to someone at a boat ramp, you ask them if they catch any fish, and they're gonna lie to you because muskie fishermen lie.
Yeah, and you
say
can
no.
see their hands.
You can see their hands are all torn up. They're lying,
Yeah.
when you pull up to the boat ramp and there's a Muskies Canada sticker in someone's back window in their truck. Okay, this guy's fishing for muskie, or there's a lot of things you can tell, things you might not pick up on, but start paying attention. You're gonna see it at the boat launch. You're gonna know who else is on the water. Start to learn the regulars, and I've seen that truck before.
That's true. As a guide, you are the guardian of the water.
Yeah.
You basically are our ears and eyes.
I've got to take care of
And
it. The water is pressure to us. And then on the bottom right picture, that was a 50-incher my buddy caught.
is that a minnow?
No, that's a muskellunge.
Muscle.
That is the fish that.
I thought it was zoomed in minnow.
No, that was a
That's a
muskellunge. You can kind of tell. You can see.
Oh
the
yeah,
hands
it's
next
true.
to it.
It's clear. It's
So
a barb.
So that one is the one that got me into muskie fishing. I think I saw a few muskies before that, but that's the one that started my passion for it. And what I love about that picture is it really symbolizes how many hours we spend at reviewing gear, videos, fishing, casting, to spend a few seconds with a fish. And that's one of the biggest things I love about muskie fishing. It's the memories that you're not going to forget. Is when you have that fish. Everybody snaps a quick picture, and you can look back at that picture, and you won't forget that fish.
Colors on that picture.
Yeah. Are those your photos or Zach's or a mix
Yeah,
of both?
there are some Zach pictures, like this one here, the bottom left is Zach that took it of my fish. All the pictures in this PowerPoint I have rights to, whether I took them or Zach took them. I didn't ask for his permission, but I assume I have it. But yeah, I didn't use anything from Google. It's all mine or Zach's.
So was the middle one? Was it just you guys? The muskie in the middle with the outer tent.
Nope, that one was with me
that
and
with,
my buddy Andrew.
Okay.
So
Was that just you two? I think it was.
that was
big
for the
team
Mad
on ice,
Tour.
right? Yeah. So Mathieu was there.
Yeah, Matt
Matt was
Shaz
there, right? Okay.
for the Mad Tour. What I'd like to see in the future of muskie fishing, the first thing I want to talk about is regulations. Obviously, we just had a really big change in Zone 8. Muskie fishing now closes December 19th instead of March 31st, which means no ice fishing, no fishing for them in the boat past December 19th, which a ton of guys did. And I just want to, I'm really curious to see how that goes. Are they going to make improvements? Like, there's ways to, like, you could just, right now we're allowed 10 lines a person in Quebec, which is absolutely absurd. You could drop it to 2 and allow muskie fishing. Or just say it, no muskie fishing on the ice. You can allow it in the boats. Because this year, personally, was the first time I was ever able to target winter muskies in open water. I got out a few times in March this year. I fished on closing night from noon to midnight. Nothing else to say about it. We didn't get any. But I did do it, and it's going to be my last chance to ever do it, which is part of the reason I want to do it. And I'm wondering, are they going to improve things? Are they going to change things? Are they going to remove things?
Well, these things move slowly, right, Darian?
Absolutely. It took like 2 years to do it.
Yeah.
They were talking about it for like 2
So
years.
do you know who was behind that?
I do. It was that. What was the name we said before?
Laz?
Lizard.
Lizard.
Yeah. So he had a big part in it.
So you're speaking to one person.
You were part of it.
Absolutely.
And
And right
Okay.
here to my left is Pierre. So it was basically a group of muskie anglers, including Muskies Canada, that consulted with the province and worked very hard to gather data and opinions. And that was the biggest part that they needed. So basically, the way you can change legislation is if you can prove to the government that you are making minimal impacts, minimal disturbances to people's way of life, and you're not disturbing your fishery. So honestly, it was a tough and long exercise. But we got it done.
I do think it was something that needed to be done.
Yeah,
I'm
so
100% for the decision. I'm not against it whatsoever. I am just curious to see how it plays out. See
Parce
what,
que le dernier hiver était vraiment particulier parce qu'on a eu vraiment de open water
ouais, mais surtout
tout
après,
l'hiver. Mais ça sera pas toujours comme ça. Je veux dire, il va y avoir, oui, du monde qui vont pouvoir pêcher open water normalement jusqu'à Noël et jour de l'an. Mais comme on a vu au mois de mars, ça arrive une fois par 10-15 ans.
Ouais. Donc le muskie va, pour les prochaines années, va fermer à la fin décembre.
19.
Ouais. Juste avant Noël. Et puis, va être fermé jusqu'au 15 juin. Donc, ça va vraiment donner une pause au muskie.
C'est comme ça en
Et,
Ontario.
the laws were aligned with our neighbors.
Yep.
And Quebec was the only place where you could hunt these monsters in winter.
yeah, like
right?
Zone 8 specifically.
And Zone 8 was the Vaudreuil got to be basically a gladiators ring.
Yeah, and part of what did it, like I got to experience that fishery before it got super overfished. I think part of what did it was when Andrew and I did Game of Inches, which was that YouTube, obviously not all of it, but it was part of it for sure. It gave away the spot. Yeah, we did a big tournament that got a lot of views on YouTube, and a lot of people saw that stuff. They saw how we did it, and they saw where we did it, and I remember that year is when it changed. I live right there, and I would drive by, and I'd see 10 tents out in the bay every single day. All those tents have a big spread of flags around them. And
Right. So 10 tents times 10
it's 100 lines.
bags is 100
100
lines.
lines with 100
Right.
mackerels or suckers,
Right.
whatever people
From,
are using.
And it's where they spawn in the spring.
Yep.
Right. So
Yep.
spawning
It
grounds.
interferes with the fish a ton. So, like I said, I'm very glad. I'm 100%.
So do we do a
for
high
that.
five? I don't know
Yeah.
if the camera sees that.
No, we're seeing the presentation right
Are
now.
we on the side, on the
What?
tiny side?
Oh, okay.
All right. We're minimized.
So research and studies. I would like, now that we have those new regulations, I think we should do a new tagging program So I'd love to get new info on survival rates of muskies. You know, a lot of fish died through the winter season, and I would like to see now that we fixed that. I want to see what we fix. I want to see the results. You know.
So you just gave me the most compelling reason to convince you to join Muskies Canada, because this is basically what we do.
I'm gonna join. I was waiting.
All right.
I was waiting for the info.
Thank you. I'm gonna join. Don't worry about that.
So yeah, I want to see more research. I want to see more studies now that they changed the regulations and conservation. I want the muskie community to grow, of course, as everyone does. But we need to educate the new anglers, and we want them to understand handling. You know, minimize your time of pictures. You know, vertical holds, learning how to.
And you know what? If I could just interject here, there's a fishery that has the highest growth in North America, and it's not bass. It's muskie. Muskie is the fastest growing fishery for sport fishing in North America.
I believe it,
and I'm not kidding.
Because I'm pretty new to muskie fishing, and I've seen it grow.
Right. Wisconsin and Minnesota are stocking muskie like they never have, and it's the most exploding industry. So we must not miss the bus. We have to make sure that we have a stocking program here.
Yeah.
And honestly, if you want to help me bring this to life, there is something that's being done right now, and it's something I'd like you to be part of.
That is absolutely something I wanted to bring up in the conservation. Is we need a stock fish. You know, we used to do it, and I don't know why we stopped, but why not bring it back?
You know, this was 55 years ago or so. They stocked muskie here, and the pond was a kilometer away. So 1958, I think, is 1964. I'll show you the research, the data that was collected. They actually put muskie in the St. Louis and in regions here. And that's why the 90s, the late 80s and 90s, was an explosive time for muskies, because all the ones that they stocked were at their full maturity. So they didn't all survive the introduced ones, but the fishery is pretty healthy today.
Yeah.
That was just a little piece of history that you might not have known.
I didn't know that
But there was a stocking program here with I think the genetics came from Montana, or what was it? Or New Brunswick?
Chautauqua River, New York State.
So it was New York muskie that was.
Tremblant, lac Tremblant.
So Tremblant was what? I was
Il a
right.
cherché des œufs là.
Mhm.
Il faisait
Éclairci.
ici, puis on s'est mangé un paquet de lacs des années. On fait ça des années 60, puis on s'est mangé des années 70.
So 1960s and 70s. So the fingerlings reached maturity in the 70s and were introduced in the St. Lawrence here.
Yeah, that's super
Cool,
fascinating to me. I love hearing stuff like that.
So we have to lobby, we have to protest and bring stocking back, right? We'll figure it out, right, Darian? We'll figure
Absolutely,
it out.
we're gonna do it.
That's why we're here tonight. It starts here, right now.
I would love to see more of that for sure. So in the three pictures, I've just got the ice muskie. That's my biggest ice muskie that I got with Andrew.
That was a 54 or 55?
55 to 40.
50. Ah.
Yeah, that's my biggest muskie. But I mean, people have their opinions on ice muskies. I have my own for sure. I keep my ice muskie, my trolling muskie, and my casting muskie. They're all different PBs. That's my PB on the ice. Bottom left, you got my PB casting, which is 53 3/4. And then bottom right is a super special tiger muskie, a wild tiger muskie that my client caught on the fly rod on a popper. And
Was that in, I don't want to give it away, but could it be Champlain?
No, it's not Champlain. That's from the Ottawa River.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, tigers are pretty rare, though.
Yeah.
That's
I've caught
that's rare.
I've run into 7 natural tigers in my life, all in the same spot.
When you say natural,
They're not stocked. They're wild.
that means that they stock tigers in some places, but I'm not aware
Yeah,
of
they stock
tigers
them in the
being
States.
stocked in.
I
Yeah,
don't think they
okay.
stock them in the
Not
States.
here, yeah.
I believe
yeah.
there's one lake I know somebody told me about that he has a cottage on, so it's private fishery, and he only has tigers in his lake, which
Yeah.
means they have to be stocked.
I don't know why they do so, but I believe tigers are like
It's because they don't
they're-
reproduce.
They cannot exactly.
Exactly.
So just like rainbows that are introduced in Quebec, they are supposed to be incapable of reproducing, right? So I think that's why they're
Yeah,
tigers.
so they do it to control populations,
Right.
and then if ever something goes wrong, they just wait and everything will
Yeah,
fix
it
itself.
just time fixes itself.
Yeah, which is really cool about tigers. We can do the next slide now. So I want to talk about photography and cinematography in fishing. Step one, it's really simple. Step one, you got to buy your camera. Step two, you bring your camera, fishing with you, whatever you're doing. And step three, you just practice with it. I did a lot of my photo and video with Zach. Zach taught me a lot, and I'm also self-taught a lot. I did a program in school, but honestly, it's more for beginners. I didn't learn much. So now I'm going to go through a few of the videos that I've shot, and I'm showing some pictures that I shot. In the top left, you have a picture. It's just the way it's composed. It's shot at 200 millimeters, which is just, it's super condensed.
That looks like Andrew.
That is Andrew, standing in the boat.
I met Andrew for the first time last year. He's one tall fellow.
Yes.
I didn't know that he was that tall.
That's him standing up in the boat in between the carp stand. We were carp fishing at Lac Chaudière, which is all mirror carp. There's no common carp, or there's no fully scaled common carp. It's all Israeli mirror carp, which is a really neat fishery. It's in Granby, and there's campgrounds on and stuff, and we go every year just to catch the mirrors because they're really unique. Bottom right is a picture of muskie in the net, and then me getting my hooks out of the net. Zach took this one. And I really like this picture because the focus is on the bulldog. So the fish is blurry, but obviously you still notice the fish. And what I love about a camera that you can't do with the phone.
Is that 50, Zach, is that 50 mil stack?
I have no idea.
Don't remember. That was
I do photography as well.
But what I love about the camera that you can't really do with your phone camera, like you can do it, but it's not as good, is the focus pulling. So there I've got focus on myself and the bait, and then the fish is out of focus. And I've got two videos to show too, so you can. This is the first one.
So I don't know if it'll play, Pierre. It'll take you to YouTube, right? Ça va t'amener à YouTube. On va essayer de reproduire la même chose.
If you're able to get the music to play too, it makes it a lot more enjoyable. Donc, encore une fois, notre merveilleux président. Parce qu'un ex-président, on appelle encore président. Merveilleux président. Ouais, ouais.
Là, je suis juste technicien.
Ouais.
Donc, on espère que les gens puissent voir la vidéo. Et voilà.
Je sais pas si elles sont.
You hear it on the live.
Yeah, come on here, sur 21 secondes.
Tu l'entends sur le live. So that video was 7 or 8 hours of filming because I wanted to get the
45 seconds.
I wanted to get the eat. You know, I needed to get the boat eat. I was fishing with my buddy Andrew, and Andrew was doing the fishing. He had the easy part, and I was doing the filming.
Alors, pour nos participants francophones, c'est un poisson castor.
Yeah. Poisson castor, bowfin in English. Otherwise, some people call them dogfish. There's a bunch of different names. But that was like 7 or 8 hours of filming.
We have an expert in the species. Julien's not here today, but Julien Bérubé, he's very good at it.
That's good to know. That's very good to know.
Yeah. So we should try to speed up to go to the well. This is all exciting, but there's the most exciting part. I think is that
we can
term
go a
that
little
you-
quicker for sure.
Yeah. So let's try to speed it up a little.
You don't even need to show that video.
Nope.
Well, it's just a gar swimming with a fish in its mouth.
Okay.
It's just to remind people, like if you want to get into like taking nice pictures and videos, just bring your camera with you. You just gotta have it with you. So we can go to the next slide. The top left is me at the Echo Museum when I was super young. You know, getting into photography of wildlife, and I obviously had to start in captivity.
You still go there? Somewhere?
Like once a year.
So we have a friend of ours, Karin, that manages the place.
Okay, cool, good to know. I volunteered there when I was 14 for like 2 weeks. I worked there. Yeah. Yeah, that's. So this is one of my favorite videos. It's got to be like my favorite video I've ever shot. The most unique video I've shot. Some of you may have seen it. I tried to get a lot of people to see it. It didn't get the exposure I expected it to get, but
Sometimes social media just works that way. You work 5 hours on a video, and then a cat farting beats you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Il y a quelque chose qui se passe en dessous de l'eau, là.
Et là, on va le voir.
So that was a small muskie. Doesn't matter the size, really. I think it's like that was probably 26 inch muskie.
There's the biggest one in there is probably 3-4.
Oh, so there was a group of them?
Yeah, those are all different muskies. Yeah.
Wolf pack.
Yeah, we caught 2 of them. We caught 2 of them and they were still going. I sat there and filmed it for 4 hours.
Oh, yeah.
And I just got some amazing footage. Obviously, I got a lot of bad footage too because I have to at that focal length. I'm so zoomed in. I have to just hope they come up.
Was
Where
that
I'm
300 or
that was
more?
200.
Let's play it again.
So Pierre just says, let's speed it up. Let's send video twice. That's Pierre for you.
You know
Oh, we imagine when we're fishing.
Oh, Nick, turn left here and turn right.
What?
Nick, save your talking after the video so you don't hear it.
Okay. Oh, when I'm doing. But it was like just stupid fun. Once this Pierre.
Arrête de cliquer, ça.
We're not speaking.
Alright.
So those were juvenile muskies.
Okay, so I did un studio parce que je pense qu'on est en.
Those were juvenile muskies blowing up all day on bait fish, and that was not this past season, the season before it, but last year I saw the exact same thing in the exact same spot. So I this year I just took pictures though. I didn't take any videos. It was
So I'm
really
guessing
cool to
if
see
you
it.
caught them, that means it was past June 16th or around there. So I guess that's July maybe.
No, this was
August?
October.
Oh, all right, in the fall.
Yeah, they're gorging on minnows, just trying to get fat, I guess.
Cool. If I could guess, it's a big body of water. Is it odd order?
It is.
Arrête de savoir ça.
I'm not good at burning spots.
All right, you can.
It
put
was
on,
Yamaska, right? Was it Yamaska?
No.
You can say yes.
Yes, it was.
Yamaska.
You can put either of
Wait,
the next 2 videos on.
On change de slide.
You can put. There's 2 more videos on the right side. They're both videos. So this one, I started working with brands, getting into photo and video. Brands ask you to do stuff.
Oh, so Frostbite from Winnipeg.
Yeah. So this is Frostbite. They asked Zach and I to do a video on the. I believe in this video it's the indestructible bug. We did a couple videos for them. This is the indestructible bug, and we just did a cool bass edit with it.
Oh, this is Zach. Are we? I wish we could do it. Oh, maybe the audience gets the sound.
On the live. You can.
Okay.
Oh, but you're watching. It's like this.
I'm Pierre. He always gets a vape and he does this.
That was actually really good. The smoke over the baits at the end.
Oh yeah.
This is shot in Rigo. Rigo, about 20 minutes from Montreal Island. And again, it's just one of those moments where you just gotta have your camera on you.
Oh, that joke.
It wouldn't be a PowerPoint presentation if there was no technical difficulties.
I don't know if they hear us right now. They do.
4 months.
All right, so do we skip those videos, Pierre, if they're giving you a hard time?
Je pense qu'il y en a pas beaucoup de mousse. OK,
That's
mousse.
it. All right. Full screen F11.
There you go. Ça lève.
This was July or August, I think. That's Carry On. Yeah, she has. I heard that she was killed because she crossed the coastal highway and the cops had to kill her. They killed her and they gave her meat to the farmer. Zach actually got the price. I don't know how that could have been.
It's on a DSLR.
That was a weird name. I started with DSLR.
Absolutely DSLR.
It's
I'm a Nikon guy.
All right, continue.
So we can go to the next slide now. But that's just another reminder, always have your camera with you if you want to get into it. That moose was there every single night for like 3 or 4 nights in a row at 7 p.m. eating lily pads in the exact same spot. I saw it the first night and then I went back every night after that for like 3 or 4 nights. And I saw her every night.
That's incredible.
Traveling. Anyone that loves fishing loves traveling. You get so many more opportunities at different species, stuff like that. So on the bottom right, there's a video of my most recent trip to Costa Rica.
I went to Costa Rica last year. I skunked on rooster, but I got a hammerhead.
It's such an amazing place.
Hammerhead shark. This long. So cool. I had it in my hand.
Could it have been the bonnethead? Could bonnetheads look like hammerheads? They're just smaller.
I'll show it to you.
Okay.
I have a picture. Maybe you can identify.
I can try.
That's feeding. So we're dead now.
I mean, you're muffled. Like, you don't. You're not.
Oh, okay. New video is like 90%. We're like way long.
What is wrong? Shit.
So who was you filming with when you took that footage? My God. Wow. He's pretty good. I have to expose him more, but he's pretty good at point shooting. Then I see dolphins. We saw 3 whales and like 900 dolphins. We saw humpback through. We were in the Pacific. Yeah. La Pacifique, ça doit être. Ça, c'est les San Jose, puis ils vont à Pierre, ouais. Why is the fastest growing fish in the ocean? This volume, this size is 3 years old. 3 years old. You got fast in life?
I didn't even know they're cross your dance. I need to go for the roosters next time.
I failed at roosters.
I asked the guy Yesterday,
Okay, so
Alright.
Pierre, you got us back online.
Now we're going to get into the more interesting stuff about the PowerPoint that you're dying to get to.
Yes. The micro stuff.
So, for starters, life listing.
C'est important tout le monde. Life listing. Who's ever heard of it? Raise your hand. Actually, I only heard of it.
Only my friends in
Yeah.
the front row have heard of it.
Est-ce qu'on a un terme en français pour life listing? Le...
Liste de vie.
Non, ça serait. Attendez.
Aucune idée, c'est quoi?
C'est créer des listes. C'est répertoire de vie.
Okay.
Répertoriation de vie.
So for people that don't know anything about life listing, a few things I want to say. Number one, it's not always minnows. It looks in the pictures like it's all tiny fish. It's not always small fish. The whole point of life listing is to catch as many different species as possible. So Quebec has 118 species on their Quebec species list, and a lot of them actually aren't catchable in Quebec for some reason. But yeah, it's about catching as many species as possible. So on the bottom, you see that's my list. I have a spreadsheet. It's not the most organized. I have to organize it better eventually. Those are the first 15 species on my list. I've got 139 right now. So I have it ranked like Quebec species. Did I catch in Quebec? Did I catch it in Canada? Did I catch it in freshwater, saltwater? And did I catch it on hook and line? And then what year I caught it on? The reason the hook and line is there because a lot of people determine what species are in an area by dip netting it. So they'll net the weeds and you'll get a lot of fish. And yeah, you put it on your list, but it wasn't on hook and line. But then the goal is to eventually get them all on hook and line. So I have, on the top left, I've got a map. That's my Google Maps. That's what my Google Maps looks like. All those stars is different places I've gone to catch different species.
Is that where you get your kisses? Or?
Yeah, that's where I get my kisses. They're all pinned there too. The first fish you see is the Western tube-nosed goby. That one, it's like a round goby. It also comes from the Caspian Sea. It is an invasive species. They are in Lake Ontario. That one came from Gananoque, which right now is the only place you can catch them. They haven't spread out far enough yet. Biologists had netted them and stuff in samples. And so a couple people went to go catch them. And then my buddy asked me, hey, do you want to drive 3 hours to Gananoque to catch a Western tube-nosed goby? And I was like, yeah, why not? So took my tiny hooks and we drove 3 hours, fished for 20 minutes, and drove home. We made it there for sunset. And
that's amazing because most kids, or I mean, you're an adult now, but even guys in your 20s would be like, hey, let's play Fortnite this weekend, but you go out and catch Western tube-nosed goby.
Yeah, that was cool.
That's why you're here tonight.
Exactly. So that was actually a really cool fish. It's one of my favorite lifers that I've caught. I caught it on hook and line. The next one we have is stone cat, which are really cool as well. They're a micro species of catfish. That one in the picture was, I believe, 5 inches. I bumped it. 5 inches, which is it's an adult. The biggest they get is maybe 7 inches. They live in really fast water, flipping over rocks and stuff at night. They're fully nocturnal. And that one came on a size 16 hook, which is actually a really big hook for microfishing. And then all the way on the right, I've got central mud minnow, which that looks like a muskie with a 32-inch girth. If you have it in your arms, doubled over. That's a really big minnow, but that one was like maybe 5.5 inches, 5 inches, 5.5 inches. You go to the next slide. Microfishing. So I brought my micro hooks with me, which I'm going to pass around.
Yeah.
You guys will be able to look at them so you can see what the hooks look like.
Maintenant, full screen.
So I'm going to pass them around. These are the smallest hooks that I own, and this is what I use to catch my micro species, a lot of my micro species. So I order them from Japan. They come with 1 pound line already tied onto them. They're absolutely unbelievably tiny. They're the most annoying things to use. If you think that your hooks get caught in your pants, these get caught in your pants. They get caught in your sweater sleeves. They get caught in anything. And those hooks are so small that so most of the microfish that I'm catching, I would obviously use worms, you know, their bottom feeders and stuff like that. But the problem is, those hooks are so small, I can't put worm chunks on them. So I have to use the skin. And believe it or not, the skin does have enough smell that fish will move for them. And I've got videos of them after. So on the left here, you see that is a model sculpin. It is 1.5 inches long. And you can see the hook in its mouth with the piece of worm. On the right, you have my brook stickleback, less than 1.5 inches long. Also a hook in the mouth with the worm.
Hey Darian, did you ever think of going to one of those pet shops?
I did not know.
No, not
Therapy.
no, honestly, Pierre's like that. You have to ignore him. I might not take a fishing this year. My son has a gecko, and we have to feed it all sorts of insects. There's some tiny insects that it eats. So I don't know if you instead of trying to cut a piece of worm off, you could go to a pet shop, and they feed all the animals there. So you might find these like micro crickets.
Yeah, you could, but like I do it. A lot of it I do, or most of it I do at night, so I can just flip over rocks and find
Okay,
bugs.
and you find everything you need just there, right?
Or some fish are picky enough that they won't take a worm, and they need like a meat or something. In which case I'll do that. But so far I haven't done enough traveling to get into complicated species. So everything has been willing to take a worm so far.
So maybe Muskies Canada should do a micro fishing tournament.
You guys wouldn't stand a chance if I'm in it.
No, but like you'd be the spokesperson. But then we'd get like young kids to get into it. Wouldn't that be awesome?
That would be really cool.
Micro fishing tournament.
Well, I guess someone I know.
But obviously, if you want to do micro fishing, you're not in it for the fight. You're in it for the challenge. Okay?
Absolutely.
As easy as it looks, some of these fish are really hard to catch. Okay.
And you use a bamboo stick or what? Do you use?
So I have a tenkara rod, which is it's
A
about
tenkara, so it's Japanese
It's
rod?
yeah, I ordered it off Amazon, $30. It's about 16 inches long, but it comes out to 9 feet.
So it's like telescopic.
Yeah, telescopic. There's no guides. There's a piece of line on the end. You tie your line to the end of it.
Very cool. And your reel size what?
15. I don't use a reel.
Oh, it's just tight. Okay.
Yeah, there's no reel in it.
I guess you don't. But wouldn't it be cool to have a little micro reel?
I guess, but like
Yeah.
you don't need it.
And
They don't pull
yeah.
drag. Trust me. But you
Yeah.
know what's really annoying about microfishing?
2-inch
Is-
perch.
They break me off. I've been broken off by so many perch and sunfish and bluegills. It's crazy because you're using 1 pound
Yeah,
line.
those are
And
those are giants,
maybe they weigh 1/4 pound, but when they're running, they'll break you off. And those hooks are expensive, so I have to order them from Japan. They're not cheap. You can go to the next slide now.
Yeah, we're gonna do a micro fishing tournament.
So this slide,
And I'm in charge here, so I'm gonna do it.
and I want to co-host it.
I don't want it to paint me.
So I did this year. I went down to Toronto to do the ice fishing show for Frostbite, and it was a couple nights. And then we got bored the first night, and we went out microfishing because I wanted to catch rainbow darter, which is in the area of Toronto. And this was like November, really terrible time to go catch micro species. But I wanted to go out and catch a rainbow darter for my list because we don't have them here. So I went out, and we did not find a rainbow darter, but we did get some crazy underwater footage and other footage of me catching a fish with the micro. Rig
That's
that we're
gonna be
gonna show.
cool. So Pierre, all pressure's on you to get this working for the live.
I'm getting burned out.
So in the first video, you're going to be able to see my split shot, and then below my split shot's my tiny little hook of a piece of worm that we dug up from the earth. And this fish does not actually bite, unfortunately.
This is
That's my
Lake Ontario, or this is
no, this is a little river. I forget the name of it. That's all I had on that one.
I didn't see any fish.
It's right in front of the worm. It's like it's not too long. Yeah, that's a fish.
Yeah.
That's microfishing.
Oh, I see it. Yeah. Okay.
Blow it.
Yeah. That one did not eat. That fish did not eat. But the next video is it was a creek chub, I believe, or it might have been a common shiner. It was one of the more common species that did eat. So this one does eat.
Oui. Il y a les vidéos durent 20 secondes.
it would be boring if it was any longer. There's so much going on in these ones.
Just takes one of the kids that's crazy like this. He's got 200 species so far.
What's his name?
Alexi.
I know him. He's the one that showed me the mud minnows and everything. Yeah, I fished with Alexi pretty often. Oh, really? The life listing community is even smaller than the muskie community.
Oh my god. He got it.
So in that video, you actually see the fish eat it. So that's all I have for those two videos. Never before seen underwater microfish. You know? And then so what we did with that fish is we put it in a little bottle, a little glass vase, and we brought it to the show the next day. And we said, if anyone can ID this fish, you win it started off with a rod, and then somebody guessed it, so we took off the rod, and then we made it a dinner bell, which is a little spoon lure. So if you go back to the slides, you'll be able to see the picture. You don't see the fish in the vase because it's so small. But you see we had it on our table, guess the species, win a dinner bell.
And that's, what's his name?
This is,
Gord Pizer.
yeah, this is Gord Pizer, and he could not ID the fish. So this one was a Johnny Darter. And Gord Pizer's best guess was logperch, which is close. I believe he's in the same genus. Very close, but he wasn't quite there yet. Logperch are a lot more common. But he couldn't even get it. So a few people did get it, but Gord could not. So you can go to the next slide now. So this January, I went to Cuba with my girlfriend, and I decided to try something new, snorkel fishing. On the right, you see me with my half a rod that I got from Temu. No joke, I got it from Temu, tied line to the end of it with my micro hooks, and I was, on the left you see me fully extended, and I'm just going along the rubble fields, dropping my line into the little coral rocks to see what comes out of it. You know, it's like Finding Nemo down there, except I'm trying to catch them all. So I did that, we did an all-inclusive. We were there 7 days. I fished every single day. I was snorkeling for like 5 hours. As you can see in the pictures, my fingers are all pruned. I snorkel fished all day, every day. I have no clue what my girlfriend did. I was snorkel fishing every day.
Is it the same girlfriend that's in the room here?
Yeah, that's her right there. She puts up with me.
Awesome.
Tu penses que c'est ça?
So did he send you to the, did he send you to the, est-ce que Darian t'a envoyé chercher des crevettes au
No, so there was no shrimp in Cuba. So what I had to do,
because of COVID and stuff, it's all short.
I have no clue why, but everybody told me, oh, just go to the buffet, get shrimp. And I was like, okay, so I didn't bring anything. And I could not find shrimp. There was like cooked squid, but it won't stay on your hook. So I had to go around and find my own hermit crabs, break the shell open, and take hermit crabs. So that's what I used. And then so in the top of the middle, you see spotted scorpion fish, extremely venomous. I had an idea what it was, but I didn't know what it was. So I'm holding it in the picture. And I later found out that I should not have held it, but I was okay. That one was really cool. Hello? It would have been really, really bad if I got stung.
Probably nausea.
Not usually death. If you're allergic, you could die. But extreme pain, nauseous, diarrhea, like extreme swelling, you have to go to the hospital. You don't mess around with that.
Sounds like
They're super venomous. The next picture you see is a high hat. That one was really cool. They're just a cool looking fish. They're actually in the drum family. I don't know if you guys can make up that resemblance, but it looks like a drum, and they're in the drum family. Next one's a bluehead wrasse. The bottom left, it's cut off. I don't know if it's cut off on the live stream, but it's called a slippery dick. That's a lot of people's favorite fish in the life listing community. They're really annoying. There's way too many of them.
Are there non-slippery ones?
No, they're all slippery. They really are slippery, and they got like vampire fangs. They're pretty nasty looking fish. And then on the bottom right, you got the Caribbean gambuza, which is basically a molly, like you have in your fish
in the
tanks.
fishing tank. Yeah.
Yeah, and
The mollies are freshwater.
That one I did catch in freshwater. Okay, that's the only fish there that wasn't snorkel fishing. Then on the right, you have a squirrel fish, also venomous, a lot less venomous. Like nothing would be problematic except for pain. But yeah, that was something that I discovered this year that I absolutely love, and I really I can't get enough of it. I'm dying to go back. I fully equip myself with snorkel fishing stuff now. I bought like a marker buoy that I can place when I'm down there, so if I have to go back to shore to take a picture of a new species,
Yeah, you can go
I
back
can
to
go
the
back.
sidewalk.
Because when I caught that high hat, I was fishing for a lionfish, and I couldn't find it after, and I was so disappointed. But now I have that marker buoy I'll be able to put down.
Like those orange things that people use instead of waypoints, like those
Yeah, exactly.
those barbells
The
they use for
orange-
walleye. Yeah.
exactly that. That's
So
exactly
if we have a sale, I can sell you mine. I haven't used those in 15 years.
Absolutely.
Take them.
So this is the map of my next trip I have planned. In June, I'm going to all the way down to Alabama, the farthest we're going, and then all the way back up.
And your girlfriend's coming?
No, it's just
All
me
right.
and a buddy. 6 days. We're
I have a
sleeping.
buddy.
6 days sleeping in the car. We're doing it as low budget as possible. We're doing 6,000 kilometers. That's the plan. So about 1,000 kilometers a day, 10 hours a day. There's 4 or 5
So the
states.
question was how many fishing licenses you need.
So Alabama, not.
But a lot of micro species don't need licenses.
You do. You do? Well, technically, yeah, but you know, if we're stopping in one spot in the state, it's a ditch on the side of the road.
And
5
any
minutes.
equipment, fishing equipment, you have to have a license.
Yeah. So technically speaking, we need like 5-6 licenses, and if we do have to go, like that's going to be one of our most expensive things. Besides gas, license is the next most expensive thing. That's a great question. It is going to add up. So that's our map. We have a ton of different spots. We're aiming 6,000 kilometers in 6 days, which is, you know, it's a bit far-fetched, but we're gonna try our best to do it. And so my goal, like I said before, right now I'm at 139 species, and my goal is to be at 200 by the end of 2025.
So when you're out there, do you want me to guide for you and take care of your business?
I'm Zach for that.
Oh, is that? Are you guys partners in business?
We try.
He does his own thing, and I do my own thing. But if
Okay.
he needs help, he'll take me because we're both able to do both things. So last year I had a couple of days that I have to give to him. So
Okay,
when
your overflow and
exactly
you said,
overflow, or if I'm out of town
yeah,
and someone needs that day, Zach's my second
Very
guy.
cool.
If I'm a third guy, you can do it, but you need to get all your commercial registration.
Yeah, I have none of that.
Okay, you got to get that.
Darren, are these all different species then that you're targeting?
Yeah, in Alabama, the goal is as many species as possible, whether they're an inch long or a pound.
But you've identified the spots where you can probably get them. Is that
Yeah,
right?
there's target species. There's target. So my buddy that I'm going with has, I believe he's close to 700 species now. I believe it's
It was like 200.
Alexi's 200 something. I think he's close to 300. Bradley Rasmussen's the guy that I'm going with. He's close to 700. He's done all over the world. He's done Europe. He's done everywhere. He's done probably every state. And he's got so many species, and so I'm going with him. Those waypoints are his target species, but all of those spots would have species for
Juste
me.
comme
to
les
visit.
trucs qu'on a en écologie.
This was a
Ouais.
it's like for birds or rocks, but
Bird watcher, crazy.
But you gotta catch them. You can't
Yeah.
just watch them.
Did
When
you
you're-
ever do snorkeling with jellyfish? Those big jellyfish has amazing fish inside.
I haven't come across that
yeah,
yet.
like a Portuguese man of war, right?
I don't want jellyfish.
For 2 days I
No,
did
but he's
snorkeling
saying
with jellyfish.
There's clownfish and other species that are in the tentacles. Yeah.
I haven't come across any of that yet, but in Cuba, there was so many sea urchins and fish like inside the caves full of sea urchins.
It's just-
That's cool.
They stun you once in a while, but they're amazing fish, different type, colors and everything. It's great.
So yeah, that's what I came here to talk about. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask them now.
We can bring a microphone over. So let's do a little stretch, people. This was a really nice 90 minutes or so. So thank you so much, Darian. And let's go to questions. So does anybody have a question? They're a pretty quiet bunch. I say
Hey, I asked mine.
Oh yeah, he asked his.
Yep.
We had a few during the presentation.
Those little guys are waiting over here.
I got one to throw in. Probably the answer is really quick. So is it fish only, or like salamanders, which are kind of like next to fish, similar habitat?
So I thought about throwing some of those in. I recently went salamander hunting with his nephew Alexi. We caught yellow spotted, we caught blue spotted, but it's not the same, so I don't include that.
By the way, this was not a setup question at all. I remember as a kid catching salamanders. I was amazed by. Yeah, so I didn't kiss the salamanders, but I remember as a kid finding them and just being absolutely amazed by them. And there's a lot of them in Quebec.
Yeah, it's surprising. You gotta be.
I don't find them as much. Maybe I'm just old and my eyesight's not as good, or maybe not, just too lazy to turn rocks over or whatever. But
The yellow spotted, for example, they spend 11 months of the year underground. They live in tree cavities 6 feet underground. You'll only see them when they're spawning.
That's it.
Right now, it's probably done. I was there a couple weeks ago with Alexi, and it's probably done now.
Wow.
But there
That's
are,
good for biology.
there of course are some above ground species of salamanders, you know, that you can find flipping over rocks or finding wet moss after a rain. You know, there's a lot of salamanders, lots of species.
Hey, Darian, I'm absolutely amazed that you could come out tonight and talk about things that you do, the life listing, the community building. Let's make a deal. Let's make a micro fishing tournament.
Okay.
Is that what we should call it?
We can work on the name, but whatever's most
Let's call it
appealing,
micro
you know,
fishing. How about that? Muskies Canada, we're here to catch the biggest fish in this food chain.
Yeah.
And we'll make a tournament.
that muskies can't even see.
Yeah, there you go. Muskies don't even eat.
For sure they do.
Let's do it. All right, it's a deal.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. So, merci tout le monde. Thank you everybody who tuned in. This is going to be on a rebroadcast. And what an amazing show tonight. So, thank you, Darian.
Thank you so much for having me.
See?